What's up, Leafs Nation? Welcome back to another post-game show here, right on Leafs Nation After Dark. I'm Zack Phillips, and tonight we're going to be breaking down game number 26 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, dropping this one here tonight to the Washington Capitals, 3-1. This one was a more tough one. It was a slower Friday night game. I said in the pregame show I was excited for how this one might play out. I was excited for what might happen with this team and how they're gonna be able to roll it over into a Friday night victory. And you know, the crowd would be behind them. They would have some energy going into this one tonight. This is one of those ones where you kind of look at it and you're like, okay, things caught up to us. Tampa Bay, they did not play that well in the game against Tampa. You got the win on Saturday night. Monday, did not play that well against Chicago. Got the 4-1 victory. And after two, it's like, okay, you know what? At least things kind of have gone in our direction here, because a lot of times we'd be the team who wins the deserve to win a meter or whatever at the end. And you look at Chicago, Arizona in the past, San Jose, those kinds of teams, Anaheim, and you're like, well, we lost, we fell behind. So to have it on the side where it's like, hey, you didn't play that well, you ended up with a victory, it's fine. You can kind of get yourself into the right direction. This game tonight, it feels like numerous bad games and numerous games of not playing that well built up here, and it bit you in the ass against a good team. Tampa, good team, yeah. You had a bad third period. They almost caught you. It wasn't like it was a bad game against Tampa. Let's also be realistic about that. It was just more so like it didn't play that great in the third, didn't close it out the way you'd like to. They almost came back. Monday, Chicago, also just a full not great game. Wednesday, that's a bad Nashville team. Didn't play that great. Find a way to get out a win. And then here tonight against this Capitals team that are good, you don't play that well and they catch you. So we'll dig into all of that. We'll get into a whole lot more as the show goes on here tonight. And the post-game show is a presentation of Bet365. Sign up today at Bet365 and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N, all caps, code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Yeah, I mean, tonight, you finish this one, you lose 3-1. It doesn't feel like it was a blowout or anything. It wasn't like a pathetic performance, so I'm not going to yell and scream or anything like that. But it is a frustrating loss tonight because it just feels like this is avoidable if you just played a solid game, like a game that we all know and have come to expect them to be able to play. Like, it just wasn't the case here tonight. You didn't have that A+ or A type of game. It was just kind of slow, mediocre. I don't know. And it results in a loss. And I see people in the chat here blaming right now the refs for this loss. This is not on the refs. This is not a refs lost game where it was terrible stuff and the team got screwed over or anything like that. That's not what ends up happening. This was straight up just like, you didn't play that well, and now we're ultimately ending up looking at some of these we're looking at some of these plays and saying, hey, if that changed there, you shouldn't have to rely on those for it to be a win, or have to look at them and say, well, that happened and that's what caused us to have a loss here tonight. I don't think that that's something we should be relying upon, and it's unfortunate, but yeah, that late stuff was tough. I mean, the one where it bounces off the ref skate and into the front of the net, or in front of the net, excuse me, and McMichael ends up scoring. That's tough. Like, there's no other way around it. I was trying to think of like a word, like unfortunate or whatever. It's tough. Yeah, Matthews goes to make the play around, hits the ref skate, and all of a sudden you've got multiple guys in front of the net who are able to crash and bang and put that one in. And then the other one that I'm looking at here is the helmet off by Faravari at the end. I mean, That one I will say, and look, the Leafs are losing at that point anyways, whatever. And in reality, the other thing I would say about this one is like, he's allowed to do that, but he just gets a penalty, right? If you know what I'm saying. Like, he's allowed to do that, say, screw it, I'm going to save a goal here. I'm going to stop this from getting any worse. I'm going to block this because it's an empty net goal, and that's the extent of it. But it is a penalty. Like, it's not like that gets overturned and awarded a goal automatically. Like, that's not the case in that situation. But that's a penalty. He's playing with his helmet in his hand. Like, his helmet is quite literally in his hand. Makes the save on the empty net. Those are the ones where I'm sitting there watching this as a fan going, what the fuck are we watching? The Ekman-Larsson slash penalty. Kind of soft. Like, really didn't think it was that much. Early in the first period, or maybe it was in the second period there. I think it was, there was like one across the hands where it was just like a lift on the stick. Berube's losing his mind about it being a soft call. It's like, some of these are just so confusing with that. And then like the helmet one, I just don't get. And again, I think that's a smart play by Fehérváry. You can't get your helmet on. There's an obvious goal that's about to happen into the empty net. You can play that. You're just going to get a penalty. So like, there's no issue with that. But no helmet on. It's in his hand. And he's right in front of the ref. Doesn't get a penalty. That is so confusing to me how that happens, how that could be the case for there to be no call there. It's not like that's an automatic goal, so I'm not going to complain about that. And there's no guarantee that the Leafs score after the fact anyways, but that's outrageous stuff. That's like, hey, here's the rule book. Oh, fuck it, I'm not going to call it. Like, what are we doing? That's a penalty 10 times out of 10, and you just decided not to call it. Can't understand that one. Can't understand that. The Leafs did not lose because of the refs here tonight, so I don't want to see any comments about that. I don't want to see any excuses over that. You can complain about those things and say that they were bad non-calls or bad calls. That's completely fair. I will give you that argument 10 times out of 10. But at the same time, like, the interference call that Marner drew was also a bogus call. Like, let's call it what it is. It's a smart play by Marner, who bumps into Carlson and sells that one. So you got to respect that from him if you're a Leafs fan and say, hey, thanks for at least trying to get us one here. But if you're a Capitals fan, like, I know one of my buddies there in the chat, Kevin, is watching right now. He sent the bird emojis, but you got to be losing your mind over that call because Carlson has no idea Marner is there. He's watching the puck, skating backwards, making sure to not go offside, and Marner skates directly into his back and falls down. Like, that's a terrible call as well. You guys know it. I have a issue with inconsistencies amongst officiating. We heard Jeff O'Neill call it out the other day as well. Rosie called it out, I think, on the show here not too long ago. Like, there's a level of frustration amongst this with these guys where it's... I just can't understand, like, some of the inconsistencies that go on. Soft shit that gets called that shouldn't have been a call. Stuff that should have been calls that's not getting called. Like, are you calling the rule book or are you not? Because those are things that get confusing, and then you don't have to take accountability for it, and you just go on with your day, and it doesn't matter to you. And then I can't understand it. I don't get it. That was insane. Those penalties are insane. That ref one, like the Marner one, insane. Like, Caps fans fully have a right to be upset. Make sure that you guys hit the like button here tonight. Subscribe to the channel, Leafs Nation 401, if you haven't already. Obviously, right here on this YouTube channel, you get whether it's the Leafs Morning Take Show, Monday to Friday. If it is the Leafs pregame show, if it's interviews that you're getting with special guest Dylan Strome on the Leafs Morning Take Show this morning, Luke Shen the other day, or if it's the postgame show here with us, Alberga, Rosehill, Carter Hutton, all popping by. Make sure to subscribe here to the channel. And Donovan JD3 says, quit crying. I mean, Donovan, you have any idea what we're watching out there with stuff like that? Because, I mean, from both perspectives, there's a very strong case to have a gripe with the officiating tonight for both teams, with just the stupidity that goes on, the calls, the non-calls, the non-willingness to listen to stuff and be able to call a consistent game. So, I mean, Caps fans have a reason to be pissed. Leafs fans have a reason to be pissed with stuff. Don't think that one way or another the refs dictated who won this game, but to say, oh, stop crying. Come on. Relax. Let's talk about some not so hot stuff here tonight. And let's talk about, first and foremost, the Nick Robertson minute. That was one of the most, shocking things I've seen out of the guy. It starts with Robertson going over the blue line and then making a drop pass to John Tavares, who is outside of the blue line. And they go offside. It's like the most obvious play of all time. It's the second period. It's a 2-on-1. You've got this easy for you to be able to walk across the line, for you to be able to get into the play, let John Tavares get across, and instead he shows up, gets across late. John Tavares does, as he's trailing, drops it to him. Like, what was that? In what world did that make sense for you to do? Why would that be the case? Why would that be the first thing that you think of in that moment for you to be doing? Like, you have an opportunity here on a 2-on-1. You are a skilled player who can move your legs well. You can carry the puck up the ice. You are able to shoot. You have pretty decent vision. You're going on a 2-on-1 with Tavares. Why the fuck do you need to drop the puck back across the line to John Tavares there? Like, why do you need to do that? That is just that to me shows a player who has little confidence in his game right now. It shows to me a player who is scared to carry the puck and make plays and does not trust their own abilities. Like, how is that the case? You scored all these goals in the preseason. You told us all that you were a goal scorer. You were trying to show us that. And then in these moments that you get for you to highlight this elite level of goal scoring that we've all been led to believe that you have, you're making these stupid drop passes just inside the blue line to a guy who's not there yet. I don't know if he's overthinking. I don't know if he's scared of making plays. I don't know what it is, but that was a terrible, terrible play for a guy who, for a lot of us, has been on the outside looking in for a long time here now anyways. And having that play was just, that was pathetic, honestly. And then he follows that up. The reason I called it the Robertson minute, he follows that up shortly thereafter with a cross-check that puts the Leafs down shorthanded. And you say what you want about whether it was soft or the guy went down easy or whatever. I don't care. The fact that he so blatantly cross-checked the guy was just a level of stupidity on its own, following up very immediately after the play that he had just made. I can't begin to understand the logic that went on there. The guy has not been impactful for me so far this season. He has 2 goals in 19 or 20 something games, whatever it's been that he's played in now. Obviously missed a couple there with being healthy scratched. I don't see a spot in this lineup for him when some of these guys get back. Like, to me, he's the first guy out. It's guys like like Grabenkin and Minton who deserve opportunities ahead of him. It's Connor Dewar who needs to be ahead of him here. And then when Bobby McMahon and Max Pacioretty and Max Domi are back, he's the first out for me. Like, that's the first guy on the outside because he's not looked good enough. He asked for a trade here already. I don't know if it's sending him on waivers and just calling it quits or seeing if you can get a 7th round pick back or something, but I don't know. Maybe it's an extremist that for me right now, but I'm done. Like that's enough. That shift right there, I watched that play and I was like, I don't need to see that anymore. I don't think he's been good enough. He's basically done twice this year what we've all thought he could be able to do. I dealt with the chat for a couple years here now being like, Nick Robertson's gonna score 40 goals in this league. Like, why would you get rid of him? Well, you get rid of him because he's not scoring 40 goals. He's not gotten to that point yet. And he's not really shown me in an NHL regular season against NHL teams that he's capable of doing that. I know we gave him flowers the other day for the goal that he scored against the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's the second goal that he scored this season. He's supposed to be a goal scorer. Rushman says we aren't putting him on waivers. He's got worth some value. What is he worth? Tell me, like, what is he worth? Seriously, if you're in the chat right now, what is Nick Robertson worth? Like, I've reached the end of the Nick Robertson trial period in Toronto here because it's like try. Well, he's supposed to score goals. Well, he doesn't. He doesn't. And if he had such amazing value, why was he not moved? Because he does nothing here. He's doing nothing here for this team right now. He asked for a trade. They poked around. They couldn't find anything. What's the value? What's the value? An emotional attachment to a kid that was drafted and we want to do well because he missed some hockey during a COVID season and we think that he could potentially turn into something because he scored a lot of points in junior. You know how many fucking kids score a lot of points in junior and don't score that much in the NHL? If you're not going to score, you have to have other tools in your bag. He just doesn't. And then it's constantly falling down on the ice. It's plays like that there with the drop pass back across the blue line and then following it up with the cross check. That just to me is like, this is the end of the line. You're a left winger who's supposed to score goals and doesn't impact the game physically or defensively, doesn't impact the game on short man situations, like it's just not doing it anywhere else, and doesn't do what we were expected to believe he was capable of doing. And then you're going to have Pacioretty, Domi, and McMahon return. Guess what? All left-handed. All can play left wing. I don't see a spot for him in the lineup when this group is healthy. Don't see it here. Doesn't make sense. I just don't get it. Like, and if you guys want to debate this and have this conversation, then call into the show because I'm willing here tonight to go toe to toe and have conversations about this. I just don't get it. On it, AK, that drop pass just got Robertson uninvited to Berube's house for Christmas dinner. Seriously, 6 1/3. Zack, it's not on Nick though. We had many golden chances we didn't convert. I'm not saying that this is on Nick Robertson. It's not. I'm going to just point out what happened here tonight. He's not costing us, yes, but he hasn't produced. What is he doing then? What's the point of having this guy in the lineup like that if he's just not producing? Like, what is he doing? What is he doing? Like, is it just that people are scared that he's going to go somewhere else and score 25 goals? Because one time he was projected for it when he didn't play that many games? It's got, like, that game tonight was just kind of the end of it for me. It's not even that. It's the Nick Dowd goal. He comes back into the defensive zone. He heads towards the middle of the ice. He turns around. He tells Fraser Minten, come in here. You take the middle of the ice, which makes him slow to get across to the wall, which is where he's supposed to be because he is the left winger. He doesn't get to the wall in time. He misses the puck that goes up to the point. Shot goes through. It gets deflected in by Nick Dowd. Yes, Simone Benoit was out to lunch in front of the net, 100%. He's covering no one. He's just standing there. Nick Dowd is completely non-guarded off to the side of the net and tips it in past them. But just to have that play start like that with Nick Robertson coming back in the zone, getting lost, getting confused between him and Minten, telling Minten, you go here, and then not filling his own roll-up when Minten was there anyways. Like, it's things like that. And then I keep seeing, he keeps getting chances. He keeps getting opportunities. He keeps getting chances to score. And he's getting prime shots. It'll come. It'll come. When? In year 5, 6, 7? Like, Fraser Minten has as many goals as him. He's played, 6 games with the team? Nick Robertson was supposed to be this tremendous goal scorer. It's not there right now. I think it will work for the kid somewhere else, but he's not better than anyone you've got in your top 6 here right now, and it's time to get him out because he needs a change of scenery. And I honestly, I just don't get it anymore, and like, I don't understand these conversations that happen. Zach's being a baby. Zach, get it together. What is it? Seriously, what is it that is telling you that you need to have this player in your lineup? Like, why is it that you're watching this guy go in, night out, when you watch Grabenkin and you watch Minten go out there, and then you say, no, we got to hold on to Robertson because protect him, keep him in this bubble. Why? Like, I've had enough with the conversation about Nick Robertson, about how you got to protect him and we got to stop being, so hard on the guy. Denver says, I think Nick Robertson is a stud. What the fuck is making you see that? Seriously. What is making you see that? In what world is the guy a stud? Because he scored in junior hockey? Tons of guys do. He makes no impact to this lineup. He has nothing positive for these guys. He scores once every 14 games. Whoop-de-doo. 13 games. Bad math. Makes no sense. That game to me was the last time I was like, I just had enough. I'm like watching it and it's like, hey, he's here and people are in love with him because he had potential. And he scored 5 goals in the preseason. Great. I mean, Sorority says, I want to see a best of Robertson compilation. Yeah, that's gonna involve whiff shots, missed nets, and falling over. Prime opportunities that don't get buried. That's what that'll look like. Donnie, he scored 60 in the O though, Zach. That's great. He's got 2 goals in 26 games in the NHL. Guess what? The NHL is not junior hockey anymore. If you can't score, you need to find other ways to make an impact on the game. So, I'm at a point where it's like I can't possibly understand this constant love for Nick Robertson and the non-stop defense for the guy's play. Why are we making excuses for it anymore? I don't get it. We got a super chat here. Super chat comes from So Sangnam. As someone who worked at a drug and alcohol treatment center for 19 years, I think I can offer an explanation regarding Robertson's play. Funny comment. I mean, it is the After Dark show, I guess. But, I mean, you did work there, so I guess you can make the joke about it. Not something that I'm going to make the joke about myself, but fair enough. We got another super chat here. Jeff McKay Thank you for the super chat. Jeff says, I think Robertson and Holmberg need to be off the team. If I had to pick one or the other, I don't know who to pick. Who's your pick? I mean, between the two, if you're just going to make a decision, it's probably Pontus Holmberg, just because I think money-wise, it's more of an impact on the roster that you would free up, right? I actually, I don't even think it is. Like, I literally was just going to go straight dollar value because either one would be fine with. I guess it's not. It's $75K more for Nick Robertson, so maybe that's not the case. But yeah, I don't know. And like, seriously, the thing is, this is you know what, honestly, and 6 1/3's like, oh, why are you challenging the chat? You know what, honestly, this is one of those ones where, I'm gonna push back on this, because every time I've brought this up, or this conversation has come up in the past, the only plausible answer anyone has is, well, first of all, it was, well, he scored a lot of goals in junior. Okay, great. He's not done shit in the NHL. Oh, he's dealt with injuries. We got to give him a shot. Okay, well, he's been healthy for a little bit here now. Hasn't found ways to score and contribute offensively. And then the final thing is, oh, he's a stud. Oh, I really like him. Or just stop being so hard on him. What are we doing? The guy's not an NHL. The guy's definitely just not a top. He's not an NHL player with this Toronto Maple Leafs team. I've reached the end of the Nick Robertson line. I think those few plays there did it for me tonight. It's just like, I had been at a point where it was like, I'm not down for this. Like, I am okay with him moving on. He was like, whatever. And then those couple of plays tonight just really highlighted it for me and just pushed me over the top of, like, the Nick Robertson, let's test this out. It's worn off. And I just don't need to watch that anymore. The other guy that did get brought up there, who also has had himself not a great season to this point, and I actually had higher standards for him, and I thought he was going to be better this season, was Pontus Holmberg. We bet on him here tonight, the anytime goal scorer plus 650. Look, you end up on a line with William Nylander and John Tavares. It felt like Willie was going to be fired up. We were going to have these guys pushing, and maybe it would have helped Pontus Holmberg find the back of the net. It's just, these guys are just vanilla players taking up roster spots. You got to find ways to get some guys in here who are going to make a difference. And I think part of the reason here as well that the frustration is hitting the level that it is when watching these guys is that we just watched Fraser Minten and Nikita Grabenkin come into this lineup and have immediate impacts right away. Fill specific roles, be able to make an impact in a niche area, an area of the game of which it's like, hey, someone else doesn't do that, or you're helping this line because you're versatile on this line, and they're kids. These are guys that have just jumping up into the lineup for the first time, maybe just jumping up into an NHL opportunity for the first time in their lives, and they've made the most of it. Like, even again tonight, I thought Fraser Minten looked pretty good. I thought he looked very like he belongs in the NHL. Like, he is an NHL player. And then I watched that, and it's like, I got to watch those two. I got to watch Pontus Holmberg, and I got to watch Nick Robertson every night taking up spots on... I got to watch these guys taking up spots in the lineup, and it's just confusing me. It's getting to the point where it's just confusing. Denver, you know what? That's maybe the worst take that I think you've ever had. I'll just be honest. I think Robertson is better than Minten. Well, we're watching different games then, brother. We are watching different games. I'll just call it what it is. Another super chat. All right. Another super chat here. Awaiting absolution. Leafs sloppy play lately caught up with them today. The refs are also out to lunch, but Leafs lost this game by themselves today. Not impressed. Same. This was just a sloppy, slow game all the way around. It felt like there was a lot of times they were struggling to be able to connect on passes, string a couple of together. The forecheck didn't look all that lethal, other than when you kind of got down to the third and the fourth lines where they were able to maintain some pressure, get any kind of cycle game going, but it wasn't even really sustained. Like, they would have those moments, they would get in there, they would hold it in the zone, and then it was like 20, 30 seconds, and then it would kind of bounce off their sticks or go the opposite way. It was just a discombobulated kind of game from this Leafs team tonight. They didn't feel like they were all that dangerous other than like a few opportunities. Obviously, Johnny T had the breakaway with an incredible goal, so kudos to him for that one. But then Nylander has the breakaway that he ends up flipping wide. Like, this was just not that. This is just not that enjoyable of a game to watch for like the first time this season. I mean, I guess the other one would have gone to the Senators Sens game there, the 3-0 Sens game. And I mean, I guess throw into the list would also be the Columbus game that they got smoked in. But like, this is up there with some of the just, not even like it was that bad of a loss, but just like disinterested games that the team has played. There was a few moments that was kind of sparking some stuff. The power play on one of the power plays they had looked decent. Like, they had some great chances moving the pucks from low to high, trying to get in tight on Lindgren there. Like, other than that, really, it was just not too much going on for the team. I don't think that they were like sloppy or had crazy holes defensively, but they certainly did not deserve to win this game. 3.43 expected goals for the Capitals, 2.43 for the Maple Leafs, 38.7% on the deserve to win meter. Just not that enjoyable of a game all the way around. And I mean, Washington outshoots them. Washington has half as many penalty minutes as them. Like, there was a lot that this team did to themselves here tonight, whether shooting themselves in the foot or what, that put them behind the 8 ball and caused them to try to play keep up or catch up the entire game. This is one of the best ones here too. Chris Tanev on his assist on the John Tavares goal. Who cares? We lost. Fair enough. On why Caps are hard to break down, they worked extremely hard. They outworked us tonight, and they deserved to win. 100%. 100%. I see a comment there. Leaf Nation 67. Willie looks like he's about to hit a drought playing like old Willie. I mean, hit a drought is possible. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. To keep up the pace that he was on at the beginning for the entire season would be a pretty impressive to do for 82 games, especially a guy who just doesn't miss or anything like that. Playing like old Willie, I think, is not... I'm kind of curious what you mean, because I think like the old Willie that you'd be referring to is the old Willie that has been around since, or was around like 5 years ago, where you'd get him like that for like 5-6 games. This Nylander will have that slow, sloppy game like once or twice, and then snap back out of it and get back to his regular. So, I mean, old Willie, I think, is a bad take. As per a drought, yeah, entirely possible. Like, he's producing at an egregious rate there for a while. It's very possible that he's going to go for a stretch where he just doesn't score. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. You also have to deal with some of the Willie stuff to an extent, because he's going to do that for like 1 or 2 games. And then for the next like 10, 15, 20, he's just going to be electric. So you just got to let it be. If you are watching here tonight and you want to call in, shoot me a DM on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I'll try to get you guys a link if you do want to call into the show. You don't have to go on camera. You can just call in and give your thoughts and just leave it at that. But shoot me a DM and I will send a link over to you if you want to call in. That's at Zack Phil, ZackPhill on Twitter, X, whatever the app is. Also, hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel, like the stream. If we get to 50 likes, we obviously do the smelling salts. I don't know what happened or how it happened, but it seems like when we clicked go live here on the stream tonight, it went to 2 links at the same time. We had 2 live streams going at once. I realized because I was looking, I was like, oh, viewership's lower than normal. Maybe it's just a Friday night or whatever. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's what's happening here just based on what our normal viewership is. But I think that we just ended up getting sewered here by 2 links going live. So hit that like button, send the link around to people if you know that they're trying to watch the post-game show and didn't get in here. Try to get those numbers up throughout the remainder of the night as we get to our final couple of segments and maybe take a call here if anybody wants to call in. Apparently 6 1/3. Zach, who would want to talk with you in such a foul mood? FOWL is not how you spell foul. Come on, 6. Not even in that foul of a mood in terms of the game. Like, you're going to have a stinker game here and there. This caught up to them. They played a couple of stinker games that they won. You got through it. It was fine. But, like, we kept watching the blueprint videos that go out, the 60-second clips that come out after the games where it's like a little behind the scenes. You get to hear from Berube as he talks about stuff. And he kept saying to them, you know, we got to work harder. That wasn't the greatest game. You got to, we got to pick this up. We know that we can work on this. We know that we can get things going. And I thought that it was going to roll to a point where it was like, okay, we're going to snap out of this and stop playing these crappy games and start to generate at 5-on-5 and pick up the pace here a little bit and play the way that they were playing when Matthews was out of the lineup. And it just didn't end up being the case here tonight against Washington, which is unfortunate considering the fact that we had a chance to kind of look like this was really like, I don't even know. I'm just not that upset about it. I more so was like, hey, if they turn this around, I will be genuinely convinced that this is a different team because you had a couple of those down games, the stinker games. You won the games that were stinkers, and then are you going to let that be who you are? Are you going to let that continue, or are you going to try to get yourself back to a normal area? And the way that you have been playing over the last little while, and make that like the constant. And they just kept the stinker, and unfortunately, well, it ends up with a loss. Hopefully Berube's pissed. Hopefully the boys in the room are pissed. It looks like the quotes from Chris Tanev after the game were also not impressed there as well. So that's good to see, right? That's good to see from your leaders, your veteran guys. Zack is just bashing the Leafs even though they have been great. This is one of the fun things with doing the show and the chat is that you get to see a lot of times people will just like, they win, they're on cloud 9, or there's people in here who are also like, relax, this team is not different. They're going to lose the next one. And then they lose, and then there's people who are like, stop being so harsh. It's fine. Like, they played okay. They've been good in the past. Like, guys, we're breaking this down game by game. I don't think the game was even that bad. I genuinely am looking at what we saw out of Nick Robertson and Pontus Holmberg and just kind of, I've hit the end of the line on those guys. Mario Villela, Zack, you predicted the Leafs won't win the President's Trophy, so they need some losses. Yeah, fair. I like that. That's fair. Yeah, because if they win, then I'm going, oh, shit. Leaf Nation 67, Zack, are you a fan of keeping the core 4 or making a move with one of them? If so, who? I mean, Leaf Nation, we're at the point, like, what are you going to do, right? You're gonna end up having to you're probably just going to have to keep them. I mean, what are you going to do? Like, if we're talking about this season and this season alone, there's no move that's going to be made. And I don't think that it's a reaction, something we should be reacting to tonight and saying, hey, something's got to go, something's got to change. Like, are we getting that serious after this one? I'm not. You didn't play that great of a game. The team didn't play that great as a whole. Move on. Tomorrow's a new day. You've got the Pittsburgh Penguins. Like, go in there and find a way to get it done. Leaping Lanny Marner is Zach's favorite Leaf. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Robert Smith. Yep, the core four is not going anywhere, or is going nowhere, so bringing that up is not helping anything. Yeah. Yeah. HK Chinese Canadian. How much longer until the cup? This team seriously isn't it. I don't know why that would be the takeaway from tonight's game. Like, I didn't think that tonight was that bad. It was not good, but I'm like not smashing panic button on this team. And this is the first year where they've started to show us a body of work that's not just one or two games. That's like, hey, they might be different. That's why some of us are starting to actually buy into this idea that they could be a different team and they could be like a serious team. So tonight's loss doesn't make me think, oh, well, this one's over. Like, I don't know. I think that's an overreaction. Don't think we need to get there. Robert Smith, if we can get rid of Robertson and Holmberg, we win it this year. Well, get mad at Robert now, not me. I was not the one who said that. Robert said it. Looks like Easton Cowan left tonight's game. I don't know if he came back, but he got absolutely smoked in the neutral zone and ended up having to leave the game. Ben Danford also laid a huge hit. It was not on Easton Cowan, but Easton Cowan did leave the game. That's unfortunate. All right, let's get to our final couple of segments before we get out of here. Ultimately, I don't know. Like, I don't think that this was that terrible of a game. It wasn't a good game. I'm not, like, impressed by anything that happened here tonight, but I'm not going to call for an overreaction based on what this team has started to make me believe over the last little while. I want to see what they make of it tomorrow and how they end up playing, because you have a bounce back opportunity. You haven't played that great for a couple of games here now. You're not generating that much at 5-on-5. And on top of that, you kind of got lucky with a few wins. And I think that they know that. Like, from any time I've heard players who talk about these teams where it's like you get lucky with wins and you walk away, a lot of times you know, and you can feel it where it's like, hey, we didn't deserve to win that one, but we did. We found a way. Mario Valella says, Zack, Hakanpää made Team Finland. Your take on this? I was pretty shocked. Like, to be serious, I saw the list and I went, wait, what? Hakanpää, Team Canada, Team Finland. I was like, this guy just went back on the IR. He hadn't played in like over 6 months. Joins the Leafs, comes back, plays 2 games, and then goes back on the IR. And yet we're talking about this guy playing on Team Finland in the Four Nations. I don't know. I was confused. I was like, oh, wow, okay. Good for him. I mean, by all the sounds of it, it sounds like he's making a recovery here. He's getting himself back to normal, which is obviously amazing to hear. Like, you want that guy to be healthy, because if he can be impactful, he can be a big guy who can play in the playoffs and make a difference. Why not have him around? But, I mean, shocking. Like, it is what it is. Joe, Oilers fan here. You guys have been playing really well. Every team lays a stinker every once in a while. Joe, thank you. I agree. I'm not really worried about this game tonight. I pinpointed a couple of players. Like, Simone Benoit had a bad breakdown on the goal from Nick Dowd. He should have covered the guy in front. Like, he gets lost there. I don't think Stolarz is really to blame for this loss here tonight either, myself, personally. And then the other thing is, like, this was my I'm done with Nick Robertson point. I just got here in this game. I watched how things played out for him. I've tried to kind of at least leave it open to an extent and say, hey, you know what? Maybe he can get it going. He scored the other day. It felt like the monkey was off his back. You watch a game like this today, it's like, I don't think this guy has the confidence. I don't think he believes himself here. I think that maybe there's a there's a level of concern amongst the coaching staff, or like him to the coaching staff, where it's like, maybe these guys don't trust me. Maybe he doesn't think the management does. I don't know. But like that play to Tavares was truly, like, let's call it what it is. That's a brain dead play. The drop pass across the blue line to a guy who's outside of the zone. Brain dead play. And I've hit the end of the let's try this, because you're trying to win a Stanley Cup and you need to find the pieces that are going to be here and work with it. And at this point, to me, at bare minimum, it's pretty clear that he's not going to be a part of that. He's not going to be a guy who's going to help you. Even if he doesn't get traded, you know what? Clip this, like, grab it. If this Leafs team has any success, Nick Robertson will have nothing to do with it. And what I mean by that is he won't be in this lineup in the playoffs. He may be on this roster, he may be on this team, but he's going to be sitting in a press box or with the Toronto Marlies. He will not be a guy on the ice in the playoffs making a difference. He's shown me nothing to make me believe that he would be, or to say that I'm wrong and that it would be anything other than that, because I don't think he's got it in him. I don't think he plays the style of game that's needed in the bottom six there to kind of make that impact or be a impact playoff performer. Don't think he's got it, and don't think that if this team does anything, he will be a part of that success. So for me, like, I'm ready to cut ties. Find someone else who's going to fit into that bottom six role and maybe play some type of different game or bring some different element to the team that he's not doing right now, because I've pretty much just at the end. Leaf Nation 67. Zack, if you heard the Berube interview, he wasn't happy with Robertson either. I'm glad we have a coach that notices these things. Yeah, notices these things is one thing too, right? Like, obviously noticing, and the other thing would be saying them, being open and honest with his opinions. The way he talked about Fraser Minton the other day after the game, he pretty clearly was like, yeah, this kid is unbelievable. He's very different, makes an impact, like him here. Yeah, like, this kid, no shit, Berube has eyes, LMAO. Yeah, like, he sees it, right? It's the to the pointness. It's being as straightforward as he is, and saying that straight up and letting you know exactly how he feels when he feels that way, because it holds guys accountable. It calls them out, and guess what he's not going to do? Walk it back in the media tomorrow. When the Leafs have a morning skate and Craig Berube goes out there and has to get asked questions before the game tomorrow, and he's not going to say, oh, you know what, I was too hard on Nick Robertson last night. Because you know what? He wasn't. This has been a while here now where things have not been good enough. I'll have to go and watch and see exactly what was said, but it was not good. And I mean, you want to talk about this, we're getting people in the chat trying to defend him. I know this is basically being the Nick Robertson show, and he's not the reason they lost here tonight. I just, like, at the game as a whole, for me, the first goal, we talked about it, not ideal. With Robertson and the mix-up of Robertson and Benoit there, of Minton there, and then Robertson, Robertson doesn't get to the wall, doesn't get the puck, it goes to the defenseman, he gets the shot through, and then Benoit, with terrible positioning on the guy net front, doesn't pick him up, it gets deflected in. Then the other thing is the The second goal there that ends up going in is just the unlucky one. Matthews tries to make the pass behind the net. It hits the ref's skate. It goes out front. Like, they just looked slow. They looked sloppy. It was just all the way around, and that's why Washington was able to do this. They outworked them. They out-hustled them, and they flat out just took care of business, and Washington was the better team tonight, and they deserve to win. They've been a really good team all year long. They continued that here tonight. They deserve this victory. Also, quick note, second goal that gets scored when Matthews turns that over, the other end, there should have been a penalty. John Carlson behind the net, whatever, Holmberg gets flattened. He stands up. Carlson grabs his stick under his arm, chicken wings it, and yanks it out of his hands. Like, that's a penalty. And then it turns into, down the other end, Washington scoring. So the reason that this has been the Nick Robertson conversation, and I don't understand people saying anything other than what, like, a lot of times I'm willing to go back and forth on some of the stuff and say, hey, you know what, I'm wrong. This one I don't get. Nick Robertson drew 2 third period shifts. He played twice in the third period. He played a season low 935. Like, do you know what that means? It means he didn't play good, and the coach knew it and didn't want to let him out. This is just a slow, ugly game. I mean, I let this get to... It was just frustrating. It was frustrating. This got to me. Yeah. I don't have too much else to add. Keep liking the stream here tonight. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I want to make sure we get out of here. We've got all the super chats in here tonight, so thank you to everyone who sent one of those. We get more. We get to get to the smelling salts if we get to 50. Our friend Mario Kart asking for the deserve to win a meter. I might as well pull that one up for him. Just get that set up. There you go. Deserve to win a meter here tonight, Mario Kart. As always, you deserve it. I will bring it up for you. You deserve a win a meter. 38.7% for the Maple Leafs. This played out exactly that way. Like, just above 2/3. They didn't play that great. Look at how many net front chances Washington had. Toronto had a few there. Obviously, you get a Nylander breakaway, the Tavares breakaway. Those are going to be huge expected goal opportunities, obviously. And then going down to expected goals on the night, what it finished as 3.43 for Washington, 2.43 for the Maple Leafs. And your generators for the Maple Leafs here tonight, Tavares leads the Leafs 0.72, Nyes 0.67, William Nylander 0.33. The next drops off down to Morgan Rielly at 0.14. As for the other side, I mean, just look at the caps there tonight. Protests, the kid's being a weapon for Washington this year. Connor McMichael there second, Tom Wilson third, Nick Dowd in fourth. Like, Washington deserved the win. Kudos to them. They're a good team. They work really, really hard, and they deserved this win tonight. The Leafs didn't. The Leafs just they didn't deserve this win. I don't know. I wish that it was better from these guys. Okay, that's our deserve to win a meter. Let's get out of here on the last couple of things for the show here tonight, and let's start with our play of the game. Also, DizK there saying Protus really came out of nowhere. He's an animal. He did come out of nowhere, and he is an animal. That kid is being a machine. I actually enjoy watching him play. Big body, moves his feet well. Decent hand, scoring touch. Like, he's a beast. He's a beast. Maxentius Decimus just joining the chat here. Just got home, but I was listening, Zach. This game was fine. We had a lot of chances, hit post, came close, bad luck. Still have injuries. Washington is a great team. No reason to be negative at all. I'm not really negative about the team here tonight, I don't think. Like, I'm not really panicky or upset with too much with the game and how the game played out. It was a tired, like, it was just like a boring game that they didn't play that well in, and like, you move on. You're gonna drop a stinker. Like the guy, the Oilers fan who came in the chat here earlier said, you're gonna drop a stinker. You've been playing really well. Agreed. HK Chinese Canadian Zach, the best way to sum up tonight's game is they got a lot of penalties and lost tonight's game, but gave themselves enough of a chance to win. More of a bad bounce than a non-fluky goal. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they gave themselves a chance to win, but they didn't deserve it. They didn't deserve to win. And if they did, this would have been like the 4th or 5th game in the last week that was just like an undeserving win. Rushman, Zach is tired. Yeah, I am tired. For those of you who don't know, we launched the sheets with Jeff Merrick this week, Monday to Friday, 3 to 4, going live every day. We have crazy, awesome guests that come on. Monday was Jay Woodcroft. Tuesday, Greg Wyshynski. Wednesday, we had, I think, at this point, like, my brain is just, every day's melting together. Wednesday, Troy Smith. Coached Hockey Canada, U17s, coached in the OHL. Played for the Danbury Trashers. He came on, broke down some film, talked about Austin Matthews, his ability to get open. Then on Thursday, we had... Who do we have on Thursday? Rhett Warner from Flames Nation. And then today, Brian Burke. But I'm producing that show as well. And part of that show, you should check it out over on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel, Monday to Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. This was the launch of the show. It was an exhausting week. Play of the game. I forgot about that. We clicked the button. We went to do the play of the game. We didn't even get to it. Let's smash the like button while we're here to get us out of here. Like, let's do the salts before we leave. So make sure to hit that like button. Donnie, Zach's living the dream. Correct. I am living the dream. That doesn't mean I'm not tired. I am living the dream, but I'm tired. Also, mix in the Leaf game. Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the launch of the sheet. Holy shit. Play of the game. Play of the game for me is easy. It's the Johnny T breakaway. I am exhausted. Shit. My bad. Sorry, guys. We'll get you guys out of here in a minute. Play of the game for me, yeah, it's Johnny T breakaway. That pass by Tanev was spectacular. Tavares gets it, goes in on a B-way all alone. He actually, if you watch it too, like hits the brakes a little bit on a hezzy, so slows down the speed and then kind of goes back into it where he like slows down a little bit and then keeps moving. Goes forehand, backhand, absolute hit on Lindgren there. Beautiful goal, beautiful finish, great pass as well by Chris Tanev, who didn't really care or want to take the credit for it post-game because they lost and he was pissed, but I am crashing hard. Holy smokes, this week caught up. Yeah, that's my play of the game. AK 89's drop pass. Yeah, okay. Relax. Just need some water. Ice cold water. Chef's kiss. All right, that's our play of the game. Not really much else for me here. Reeves smoking. I can't even remember who it was that he smoked. I think it was in the second period. That was cool. That was pretty much the extent of it. Keep hitting that like button. Let's get to 100 likes so we can get the salts and we'll wake up here as we go out. But let's also now get to our best bets because we did get asked that by Rushman. And our best bet segment is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner in the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation after dark. Open an account Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. All caps, code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Okay, best bet tonight. It did not do great, ladies and gentlemen. Like, let's call it transparently here and be realistic with ourselves and what happened. This is the first and the last time I will do this here on the show, and that would be bet on Pontus Holmberg anything. Pontus Holmberg, anytime goal scorer here tonight. We did it at plus 650. I thought, you know what? He's got some life. He's playing with Nylander and Tavares. He's got some pressure on him. I think Berube has said that he's not played great and he's looking for more. He's played with those guys. He's playing with those guys in the second line. We're getting Johnny T and Nylander, where Nylander might be pissed. He just got bumped off the first line. Like, this is going to have life. What was I thinking? Like, you know what? I will tell you in all honesty, part of the reason I went into this one was that when Bobby McMann plays on the second line, Bobby McMann will be like plus 350, plus 375. Like, the peaks we get plus 400. It depends on who they play against, obviously. But if he's playing on that second line with those guys, those are the numbers we get. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, he's not as good of a goal scorer as Bobby McMann, or he's not as capable of scoring as Bobby McMann. That's fair. That's for sure. But plus 650, I'm like, we're getting like a drastically different number for a guy who's just filling into a different role. Like, I'll take that. I'll take that opportunity there. And I mean, that's the last time I'm doing that. Plus 650 on the guy. We bet half a unit, $50. That puts us down now on the season, 0.2 units. Like, we're down $20. So, or down $18 actually, specifically, if you look at the sheet. Our record is 10 wins and 20 losses. And yet we're only down $18 on the season. Like, a lot of this, like, we're just trying to have fun with, right? We're trying to find some edges here and there, maybe take advantage of some stuff that shouldn't be what it is. And think, hey, maybe we got a mistake line here. Maybe we got something that we can beat Bet365 at. Tonight was tight on everything. I didn't think we were going to get much of an opportunity anywhere where I could, like, really jump in and take an advantage. But that one was, like, I thought, I was like, man, we got a shot, and no. Pontus Holmberg, anytime goal scorer, that's first and the last. First and the last. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That's on me. At the end of the day, that's on me. Down $18. Happens. Okay. 7 more likes. Let's get to the 7 more likes. If you haven't liked the stream you're watching right now, hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel, Leaf Station 401 on YouTube. Again, apologies for the confusion there. I don't know how that happened, but it looks like it sent twice. It sent one to YouTube, and it sent 2 to YouTube, 1 to Twitter there, 1 to Facebook as well, like as always. But yeah, we streamed 2 different links on YouTube. Don't know how or why. I genuinely actually wish I had an explanation, because I'm actually just curious how that happened. Don't know. Twice on YouTube, though. What else do we got? Let's get to our grade of the game. Grade of the game to get out of here tonight. 5 more likes. Hit the like button. Let's do smelling salts before we leave. My grade of the game. Yeah, sorority, double stream. Yeah. Like, I think that screwed with some people and probably put you into, like, the wrong chat, and the chat was all divided. Like, people were in one and then they were in the other. I don't know how, because we started and had 1 stream, and then I looked and it was like there was 2, so that was confusing. Grade of the game, for me, though, is going to be a C. C minus. Stats, not, like, outrageously terrible. Your penalty kill was 4 for 4. You were 0 for 2 on the power play, and I thought the first unit looked good on the first power play opportunity they had, and that was kind of it. I mean, look down the line. 17 block shots, that's great. Hitting, you out hit them. You had 25. Washington had 15 or 16, but like that also means they probably had the puck more. You lost a lot of battles. Honestly, I'm the C minus. Like I'm going lower and lower as I go here in my head. C minus. Yeah, lost the face-off battle. The Leafs had 21 shots on net. Like that's just not good enough in these games. Washington outworked you. They outbattled you. They wanted it more here tonight. I don't think Berube is going to be happy with this effort. I don't think he should be happy with this effort. And I hope these guys in the room aren't happy with this effort and they take this and they learn from it. Only a couple likes away here now from doing the Smalling Salts Homer time. But yeah, C minus. Like the other thing I want to just shout out as well with this is the fact that Anthony Stolarz yet again looks great. 920 save percentage. The first goal is a tip. The second goal is a gong show that ends up hitting the ref's skate, bouncing out front, gets smacked around a little bit. Like, what is he going to do there? I thought he played good, ends up with good numbers for himself. No issues with Anthony Stolarz tonight. But, yeah, getting us out of here on that. C minus. That's it. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. We'll be back tomorrow for another post-game following tomorrow night's game against the Penguins. We will also have another game preview tomorrow. Maybe we get some lineup changes in the morning. Who knows? Maybe we get different best bets. Maybe some excitement against Kyle Dubas. We'll find out. Mario Kart, Robertson out tomorrow night. Also, our guy, the Golden Muzzy, he had it. Pacioretty, return? Maybe he comes back tomorrow. Keep an eye out for that. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We appreciate it, as always, here on the Leafs Nation After Dark. Leafs lose this one 3-1 to the Washington Capitals and move to 16-8-2 on the season. I will be back tomorrow for another pre-game preview, another post-game live show. Until then, as always, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.